So my name is Tyler Riley, and I did my project on the effects of alcohol consumption in regards to the ability to build muscle and workout efficiency. So for this, I chose three studies that I thought were crucial to this argument. And those were starting with a 2010 study by Barnes, Mendel, and Standard. In this study, they investigated the acute moderate alcohol intake while performing different types of exercises. So two tests were performed on 11 males. Both testing were done on the same set of 11 males. For the first testing, 300 maximal eccentric contractions of the quadriceps were done. These were recorded using the Biodex isokinetic dynamometer, and blood testing were also used in this before and after to see if there was any differences. They did the recording for the first sober set, and then on a later date, giving the test subjects time to recover, they redid the testing, but this time they introduced alcohol. For this, they did 1 gram of alcohol per pound of body weight and retested it to keep it even on each different test subject. So for the next one, they did 2014 study by Steiner and Lang. They did their testing on mice. So they split the groups of mice randomly into two groups. One was introduced to alcohol, the other stayed sober. A wire was attached to the sciatic nerve to record their results. And there also blood test was done before and after to see if there was any differences. So they made each set of mice do 10 sets of 6 contractions by inducing a shock to the muscle. These were recorded and compared. So the third study is a 2010 study by Kosiris, Kramer, Gordon, Inslanon, and Nutkin. So this one was similar to the first set of testing they did. 9 men who experienced in weight training were tested. So this was actually 3 days of testing, a control, a sober, and an alcohol day. As you might be able to tell, control and sober were very similar, almost little to no change. For each set of testing, blood was taken before, during, and after. And then on the alcohol day, they actually did before, during, after, and then 300 minutes after just to see if there's any different changes in that time period. So some of the limitations for these testing is they seem to focus mostly on males. There was no females in any of the testing. Also, age was never specified, which I think would be an important factor to keep in mind because different ages have different testosterone levels, which plays a crucial role in the muscle building process. And then this is strictly for the second study. Mice don't necessarily compare to humans. I don't know how they would compare in this testing. It is a good start, though, but I feel like they should have introduced the same testing into humans to have a more beneficial result. So my research question for this was, how does alcohol consumption affect the human body's ability to create and maintain muscle mass? And then also I had, how is the body's ability to do work and effectively function through exercise when alcohol has been consumed? So the answer to my research question and the results to the individual testing were, for Barnes, Mendel, and Standard's 2010 study, 28% of loss of eccentric and concentric torque of muscle drive compared from sober and alcohol consumed. A direct quote from the results are, therefore, consumption of moderate amounts of alcohol after damaging exercise magnifies the loss of force associated with the strenuous eccentric exercise. This weakness appears to be due to the interaction between muscle damage and alcohol rather than the systemic effects of the acute alcohol consumption. Which means basically that it doesn't have to do with the like the most well-known effects mentally and physically of the body, but more on just straight how it affects the damaged muscles. And for Steiner and Lang's 2014 study, alcohol suppressed protein synthesis in the body, non-stimulated and stimulated muscles at 30 minutes. Alcohol prevented the stimulation-induced increase and reduced the magnitude of change compared with that observed as stimulated leg controls. Basically meaning that alcohol did have a factor on the exercises, as well as it showed protein synthesis, which is a main element in the muscle building process, was affected and lowered to almost zero during the testing of alcohol. For the last set of testing in the 2010 study, testosterone and protein synthesis was seen to be affected during the alcohol consumption. And also, this was a little different than the other testing, but they recorded again at 300 minutes, and it showed that it stayed affected about the same amount after 300 minutes. Another limitation that I would add during this point would be that when they saw that it continued to be affected at 300 minutes, they should have kept going with the records to see how long it was affected. There was nothing else on that. Not too sure what the factors were there. But I do hypothesize that it would stay affected well over there. So, in the regards, why is this most important? Or like, why is this important to us? Why would we care about this? So these effects are often overlooked when drinking alcohol. Alcohol have negative effects that everyone knows, but no one really thinks about the long-term effects that could be seen. If you are a athlete, or just a common civilian working out, trying to better yourself, this could hinder your progress and goals quite drastically. So if you are a bodybuilder getting ready for a show, or a athlete getting ready for a big game, and you're trying to build muscle, get bigger, faster, stronger, you would probably want to take out alcohol altogether because it will hinder your progress and goals. And lastly, why is it important? Because you should know what's going on in your body at all times. It is important for our health. It is important for overall well-being that we know what's going on. So recommendations from myself and from the researchers is keep your goals in mind when and work around that. Basically, if you are getting ready for a big show as a bodybuilder, or a game, or you're trying to get ready for summer, get the best body you can get, you're going to want to reduce the amount of alcohol to basically zero, so it will not hinder your results. If you aren't, on that level, and you want to still indulge in alcohol from every now and then, give yourself a cheat day. Try to organize a time when you are least likely to be working out, or your goals aren't as huge at that time, to consume your alcohol. Therefore, you have time to flush that from your system. And if you have, this also goes into it, if you have a deadline you're trying to meet, cut out alcohol altogether for the best results. If you aren't that serious, it won't matter as much. But for the best results, you would want to cut out alcohol altogether. So that is my presentation. In conclusion, we do see that alcohol does play a large effect in the testosterone, mainly the testosterone and protein synthesis elements of the body. It suppresses and lowers them quite greatly. And those are the main elements in the muscle building process. So those would be important to know. Also, this might be obvious as well, that it does affect our workouts. It will dehydrate, and we will lose the torque and power that we would unless we were sober. So on that note, thank you so much. My name is Tyler Riley, and this is my presentation.